Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So today, we are heading to Legacy to check out a deck that's a little bit different. Most of the time here in Instant Deck Tech land, we talk about kind of under the radar decks, different decks. Today's deck, Legacy Infect, recently played by Todd Stevens to a top 8 finish at a GP, I believe. But the point is, this is a real deck. It's a tier 1 deck, at least tier 1.5 deck in Legacy, so it's not really under the radar, but there is a reason I wanted to show this deck off. So, as you know, last week, it was Conspiracy 2, Conspiracy Take the Crown, releasing, and one of the big reprints in the set was Berserk, and Berserk used to be insanely expensive, like $100 a copy, and it's all the way down to $25 a copy, and I think you can even find them cheaper than that. So if you're looking for a place to play your sweet new Berserks, this is the deck to do it in. So a quick reminder before we break it all down: if you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a chance at being made into videos next week. So the other sweet thing about Legacy Infect is it actually is very much like Modern Infect with some upgrades. So if you're a Modern Infect player, you're already part of the way there to building Legacy Infect. So of course, you get the same 12 creatures as Modern Infect. You get 12 1/1s, Glistener Elf, Blighted Agent, and Inkmoth Nexus. These are all Infect creatures, 1 powered creatures, but remember, with Infect, damage dealt to players is essentially doubled. So when Glistener Elf hits an opponent, it's like it's dealing 2 damage rather than 1, because it takes 10 Infect to kill someone rather than 20. You also get a single crop rotation, which helps you find your Inkmoth Nexus, so it's kind of a 5th Inkmoth Nexus. And then you also have Noble Hierarch, also a staple in Modern Infect. It's a mana dork that helps you play your stuff a little bit faster. Also, Exalted gives your creatures +1/+1 when they attack alone. And remember, like I was talking about, essentially that's doubled. Anything that deals damage to a player is doubled with Infect because it takes so much less Infect to kill someone, so it's essentially giving a creature +2/+1 when it attacks alone, which is a pretty good deal. And then even the pump spells, which are the key combo of the deck, look a lot like Modern, at least to begin with. So Vines of the Vastwood can protect a creature by giving it hexproof. Also, if you kick it for 1 extra mana, gives it +4/+4, which is essentially +8/+4 in normal damage terms. And then Become Immense, +6/+6. Usually you can cast it for 1 mana because it's pretty easy to fill your graveyard with fetch lands and cheap spells. And that just almost kills an opponent by itself. Become Immense combined with any other pump spell is enough to finish off the game in Legacy Infect. But then, part of what makes Legacy Infect unique is it gets some absurd pump spells, way better than anything you could imagine in Modern. So first off, you can Invigorate. 3 mana, a creature gets +4/+4. Doesn't sound very good. Sounds like a kind of a bad Titanic growth, but it has this alternate casting cost where if you have a forest, you can have your opponent gain 3 life instead of paying its mana's cost. So the idea is this would be fair because if you have your opponent gain 3 life, Invigorate is only really giving the creature +1/+1 because they gain the 3 life, you hit them for 4 extra damage, you do the math. However, if you're killing your opponent with Infect damage, you don't really care. You could give your opponent an infinite amount of life, and it wouldn't matter because you're not going to kill them with regular damage. You're trying to get poison counters. So this ends up being essentially a double mutagenic growth that you can cast for free at instant speed, gives the creature +4/+4, doesn't even cost you any life. And then, of course, the reason we're talking about this deck, Berserk, doubles the power of a creature and gives it trample, so it gets over random Delver of Secrets, the Lingering Souls, whatever blockers might be around. Of course, you gotta sack it at the end of the turn, the creature, but if you're killing your opponent on that turn, you don't really care if your Blighted Agent dies afterwards, so it's just a really big pump spell. The downside is it doesn't do much on its own, but if you can Invigorate or Become Immense and then Berserk, Berserk is 1 mana, double everything up, win you the game. The rest of the deck, you get the legacy stuff, a bunch of protective type spells, Force of Wills, Dazes, Spell Pierces, mostly to force through your combo. This deck looks to win turn 2, turn 3, so most of the time you're using these cards proactively. Your opponent goes to Lightning Bolt, your Blighted Agent, you daze it, you Force of Will it, you Spell Pierce it. Piracy Charm does some weird stuff. You can make a creature unblockable with Island Walk, because a lot of decks play islands in Legacy. It can kill a Unflipped Delver of Secrets with the +2/+1. You can also use it as a pump spell. Plus, you can make your opponent discard a card. And then you get tons of ways to just dig through your deck and find your pieces. This is another big difference between Legacy and Modern. In Modern, you're playing like Serum Visions, not that great. Gitaxian Probe is the same. It lets you look at your opponent's hand so you know if the coast is clear. Also draws you a card. Brainstorm and Ponder, just great ways to find what you need. Brainstorm, especially in conjunction with fetch lands. And a single Sylvan Library, helpful if the game goes long. Also can just be like a draw 3 almost, draw 2 if you're willing to pay the life for it, and you're winning fast enough that you can do that sometimes. The expensive part of the deck is the mana base, especially the 4 Tropical Islands. The deck is a little over $2,000. Tropical Island is like half of that almost. And then some fetch lands, a single Wasteland, and a Pendelhaven. In the sideboard, you get another crop rotation and then some more tutor lands. So Wasteland, to deal with your opponent's stuff. Bajuka Bog, good against Dredge, Graveyard decks. Karakas helps against Emrakuls and Griselbrands. And then you get a little bit more removal. Necropede is an Infect creature that can also double as a removal spell because you get that +1/+1 counter. Dismember, Submerge, another really powerful free spell. You get to put a creature on top of your opponent's library. And then some ways to deal with artifacts or enchantments, whole bunch of different ways, including Verdian Corruptor, another Infect creature, more counterspells in Flusterstorm and Force of Will, and that is Legacy Infect. And that's been our instant deck tech for today. So if you're looking for a way to play with your Berserks from Conspiracy Take the Crown, or if you're a modern Infect player looking to get into the Legacy format, keep this deck in mind. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.